The first thing that I tell every travel agent starting in the industry is that this industry is all about relationships. It's about our relationships with our customers because, of course, they have other options to book travel. They have to choose us. It's about our relationships with other agents because travel agents, more than any other industry I've seen, is really about community over competition. With this understanding that there's enough for all of us and that by working together and collaborating, we're better off than we would be on our own. This industry is all about our relationship with our suppliers, our partners, our hoteliers, because we don't control the entire process. Eventually, when it comes time for our clients to travel, we're going to have to hand them off to our partners, and it's going to be their responsibility to deliver on the promises that we've made throughout the process. And because this industry is all about relationships, it's all about reputation. So on this episode, I'm going to focus on how you can build your reputation the right way with your clients, with other agents, and with your partners in the industry so that you can take your business to the next level. This episode is brought to you by our partnership with the Dominican Republic Ministry of Tourism, which is fitting because this episode is all about relationships. And the Dominican Republic has been there not just for us at Modern, but for the travel industry as a whole. Early on into COVID, the Dominican Republic worked hard to develop strict safety and hygiene protocols so that they could safely reopen for international tourists on July 1st, 2020. This included offering PCR tests in July and random rapid tests in September upon arrival to travelers at no additional cost. In August 2020, they granted all tourists visiting a hotel a travel assistance plan that included coverage for emergencies, telemedicine, lodging for prolonged stays, and costs for changing flights in the event of an infection. And this insurance was provided at no cost to the traveler. In January of 2021, when the CDC began requiring antigen tests for all international travelers returning to the US, the Dominican Republic provided those tests to all visitors staying in a hotel. This continued commitment to the safety of tourists and the continued development of the travel sector as a whole enabled a quick and much needed recovery. And for that, we'll always be appreciative. To learn more about the different ways that you can partner with the Dominican Republic to offer your clients incredible experiences, visit godominicanrepublic.com. Building a reputation with your clients is about providing value and solving problems, and doing it so well that they share your information with their friends and family, either through word of mouth or through the internet. For information on how you can build your reputation through word of mouth, you can check out the previous podcast, episode 18, where I cover my 3-step process on how you can grow your agency through referrals. For this episode, I'm primarily focusing on how you can grow your reputation with your clients online. Social media is obviously a great option for building a reputation online, but it's ultimately designed to be a turn and burn process. The apps are built to continue to provide the user with new content, not just by the day, but by the minute, by the second, which means that the duration of impact for a post is typically pretty short. But there are some places where the posts are going to stick around quite a bit longer, where people are going to be able to read things that somebody said 6 months to a year ago. And the primary place for that is Google reviews. Google is one of the first places that a potential client is going to check for reviews. If you do destination weddings, then you can add Wedding Wire and the Knot to that list. But regardless, every single travel agency should be registered with Google Business. Having reviews on Google means that you're going to have clients who are convinced of the value of your services before they even reach out to you. It also means that you can leverage those reviews as a means of convincing those clients that are potentially on the fence about paying a planning or service fee. You can just tell them, no worries, take the time, talk it over with your fiance, and please feel free to check our 5-star reviews on Google, Wedding Wire, or the Knot. Having strong reviews on Google is going to make your life way, way easier. And it's not going to take anywhere near as long as you think it will. We currently have over 320 reviews on Google, and we were able to get the vast majority of those within a single year just by making it part of our process and then also discussing and celebrating it every week. The process is actually really simple. Number one, you have to register with Google Business. If you're unsure how to do that, you can just Google sign up for Google Business and follow those steps. Then every customer that you have a positive relationship with, you want to ask them for the review on Google, but you want to do it in such a way that makes it easy for them to follow through on the process. One of our wonderful agents and team leaders, Sheba Matthews, absolutely crushes it on getting reviews. And this is what she writes in her texts and emails. Thank you so much for the opportunity to help you plan your vacation. I strive to provide great customer service, and it would mean a lot if you could visit Google and rate your experience working with me. The Google review is a simple 1 to 5-star rating, which you can complete by clicking on the following link, and please feel free to mention my name. And then she includes the link to the Google review. Now, the first thing to note is that when you're asking somebody to do something, you have to make it as simple as possible, because any little bit of friction is going to reduce the likelihood that they're going to follow through with doing it. When you're asking them for their time, you owe it to them to try and make it as easy as possible on them. So for instance, if you're asking them over the phone to do it, you still need to send them a text or an email with a link that will take them directly to the box to fill out their review. Now, it might seem small, but you don't want them to have to search on Google for your business. You don't want them to have to click on the link and then click on write a review. You want to take them directly to the review page that pops up 1 to 5 stars, and then a text box if they want to add it, and then submit. There's no friction in that process. They click once, they click a second time, and it's been submitted. So you're going to Google your business name. When you see it on the right, you're going to click write a review. You're going to then go to the top and click on the address bar. It's going to be super long, a bunch of random letters. You're going to copy that. Then you're going to go to tinyurl.com, right? What this is going to do is it's going to allow you to take your super long address. You're going to paste it into tinyurl.com, and they're going to shorten it for you so that the link that you provide to your customers is not going to be like 300 characters. It's going to be tinyurl.com/7 to 10 characters. What this is going to do is it's going to make it so that every single time that you ask a client for a review or you send them this link, it's a short link. They click on it. It takes them right to the process of writing the review. So they can click 5 stars and submit. It literally takes 2 to 5 seconds. Now, you can ask them at any stage throughout the process. I know a lot of travel agents want to wait until the client is back from vacation, but the problem with that is that by the time they come back, they're already looking ahead. They're thinking about, all the work that they missed, all the work they have to make up, all the things that they have to take care of since they've been out. So if your goal is to get them to write a review, that's one of the worst times to ask them, because you're competing for their attention with everything else that they have going on. You can ask them throughout the process, maybe before travel, when you send out the e-travel documents. But again, at that point, they're looking and preparing for their vacation. They're trying to take care of work so that they can leave without feeling stressed out. So again, it's going to be less likely they're going to take the time to submit the review. My recommendation is that as soon as you confirm a reservation, that's when you ask the client to submit their review. They're feeling the high, they're feeling excited, and ultimately you're still going to be incentivized to give them an incredible experience because they can go back and edit their Google review really easily. So it's not like there's anything dishonest with the process. It's just about finding that part of the process where they're most likely to take the time to visit and submit that review. And when they're appreciative for you booking the reservation and they're excited and they have a couple minutes, that's going to be the best time to do it, is right when you confirm the reservation. So to recap, you want to make sure that you register for Google Business. You want to make sure that you click on the write a review. You want to take that link. You want to go to tinyurl.com so you can shorten the length. You're then going to take that script that I provided earlier, and you're going to send it to all the clients that you have a good relationship with. As soon as you book them, as soon as you confirm the reservation, you're going to send them that link. If you're talking to them over the phone, you can give them a heads up. You can ask them, hey, I'd really appreciate it if you could take the time to rate your experience with me. I'm going to send over a link, and please feel free to mention my name. If you make this part of your process, you'll be shocked just how quickly you're going to start stacking up reviews. And of course, if you have a team that you're trying to incentivize, then you can make small weekly, monthly, quarterly competitions where the winner gets a small prize. The biggest thing is just to make it a priority, because before you know it, you're going to have a ton of reviews, and those reviews are not only going to bring you customers, they're going to make your life much easier with the customers that are already reaching out, because you can leverage them to convince them to move forward with the process of paying a planning or service fee. Of course, I wanted to start with the customer because without the customer, there is no business. But now I wanted to talk a little bit about how you can build your reputation with other agents. I think this is a part that maybe a lot of travel agents don't fully appreciate the value of. So I wanted to take a second to say, how you can do it and why it's important. First and foremost, the travel agent community is a very unique community. There are a lot of agents who are very experienced and very knowledgeable and willing to take the time to help out other agents. For agents, this concept of community over competition is just this recognition that there's an abundance of opportunity for all of us. We don't need to try and steal each other's customers. That ultimately, if we all work together and collaborate and help each other out, then the travel agent profession as a whole is going to gain more respect. People are going to see the value in it, and we're all going to have more opportunities as a result. When it comes to building a reputation with other agents, I recommend two primary areas. The first one is being in person at travel agent events and fam trips. And the second one is being online through Facebook groups. Just as there's no substitute for seeing a destination or resort firsthand, there's really no substitute for interacting with other agents in person. At events, dinners, conferences, showcases, all of it. These events provide you with these incredible opportunities to build relationships with a bunch of wonderful people, which will not only help you increase your enjoyment during these events because you'll have your group of people and your friends that you can hang out with and have a good time. But these relationships also provide you with these incredible opportunities, business opportunities, private invitations to fam trips, shared resources and connections, insight, knowledge, experience. There's a ton of value by building your relationship with other agents. Now, of course, you can't always be traveling and attending events. And that's why Facebook groups are so important, because when you're running your business in your office or at your home, you want to continue to build your reputation online. And I've found the best way to do that is through Facebook groups. There are some really incredible Facebook groups, some of them with 10, 15,000 different agents who are asking questions and answering and providing insight and feedback and knowledge and giving updates in destination about resorts. They're collecting resources as far as contacts at the resorts, wedding departments, who to reach out to when you have a problem, who you can escalate to, who you can rely on. There's so much value in these groups that's being shared. There's hundreds of questions being asked and answered every single day. So these groups are a great tool, not just to learn from other agents, but to be of value to other agents and to build your reputation as somebody who is kind and helpful and knowledgeable in this industry. Because ultimately, the more and more that you build your relationship with other agents and you take a productive role in the travel agent community, you're going to have a whole community of agents that you can lean on for assistance. One aspect of the travel agent community is that it is a very outspoken community. You're never going to have to guess what they're thinking. And now there's an obvious benefit to that as an agent, as a supplier, as a hotelier, because the information that they provide you and the feedback can be helpful to improve your process. But it's a double-edged sword too, because sometimes that feedback can be overly negative or it can be framed in a way that's not quite constructive. And so when we're talking about building a reputation with suppliers and partners and hoteliers, this is an important thing that I wanted to talk about. The very first travel agent event I ever went to was, I think, 2010. And it was this beautiful dinner. The food was great. There were partners and hoteliers sharing about their properties. And then they opened it up for a Q&A. And one of the agents took this opportunity not to show gratitude and appreciation for this wonderful event and for all of these suppliers, spending their evening to teach about the resort and to share information and to be a resource. They took this opportunity to complain and to criticize in front of all of these other agents. And they basically said, why did you stop sending out brochures? Brochures are a fundamental part of our business. And since you stopped sending them out, we've been having issues. And then other agents heard that. And so they started chanting more brochures, more brochures. It was like this out of body experience. It was both hilarious and horrifying at the same time. And I'll never forget that experience because I've seen versions of that happen probably a dozen times since then. And so while this might be obvious to most agents, I do think it's worth saying that as a fundamental rule for your business, as a big part of building a reputation with suppliers and partners, you should follow this one very simple rule. You should always be positive in public, and you should always handle your problems directly with your partners in private. It's just like being in a relationship. If you're in a fight with your spouse, you don't go and blast them online because it's not going to just make them look bad. It's going to make you look bad. You should be handling those problems behind closed doors because that's one very easy way to build a reputation with your suppliers and partners that you have their back. That when problems come up, because they will, that you're going to handle it directly with them in a constructive way. Then you're not going to cause problems by blasting them online. Ultimately, you should be very careful about the way that you talk about your partners and suppliers. And if you can avoid being negative entirely in public, I think you probably should. If something is really important for you to share, I think you just have to make sure that you voice it in a constructive way. I think the other aspect of it is when you're sending emails to your partners, when you're communicating with them over the phone, you have to do it respectfully and kindly. I've seen a lot of emails from agents that go to wholesalers and partners, and they're brutal. There are a lot of situations that justify an agent being angry about something. But as agents, we're never justified in talking down or being disrespectful to our partners. The short-term emotional gratification that you might get by firing off that email is not going to be worth the price that you're going to pay in your reputation and for your business. And also, you just have to remember, when you fire off that email, that's going to a person. Right? When you're on a call dealing with a travel emergency, that's a human being on the other end of the line. And sometimes when we're caught up and we're stressed and somebody makes a mistake, it can be easy to forget that. And so that's just something that I wanted to mention, because I think that is so important to this industry, that we treat our partners with respect and kindness and appreciation, because that's how you're going to build the right reputation that you want. Ultimately, business is about relationships, and companies want to do business with people that they like. And so if you can manage, as a general rule, to always be positive in public, to always take your problems directly to your partners in private to address them, and when those problems happen, to communicate them in a kind and understanding and charitable and respectful way, you're going to be able to really take your business to the next level. So I hope this episode was helpful. Until next time, take care.